Welcome to another recipe redo. I'm Coach Lindsay, of course, many of you know me, and I'm excited for you guys to kind of witness this healthier recipe that we're going to be doing for chicken wings, some sauces, and we're going to throw in a potato salad. So this is obviously very summer themed as we're getting into the rest of our summer. So hopefully you guys will be able to utilize this recipe moving forward. But you know, obviously just some of the basics. Feel free to turn your camera on if you want to. Mute is at the bottom, so mute yourself during the event. And then I'll be kind of going through some nutritional things throughout the process, as well as popping in recipes into the chat. So be sure you're checking that chat so you can copy the recipes if you want them. And then of course we have Mary here. She's going to be doing a lot of the cooking, so she's obviously the star of the show today. So without further ado, I'm just going to hand it off to Mary to get started.
Sounds great. Thanks, Lindsay. Hi, everybody. Welcome to our Recipe Redo Friday. Woo! Need a jingle for that. I'm going to work on that before next time. How about I bet some of you had a barbecue last weekend, being the holiday weekend that it was, and thought, ooh, I might have been able to do a little healthier on that. So I'm going to give you a great way to do a healthier version of some of our barbecue favorites. The first one's going to be some party wings, chicken wings that we oven bake instead of fry, and use non-gluten, use almond flour. And then we're going to move on to some sauces for those, because a lot of the sauces we traditionally use aren't the most healthy for us. So I have a couple great options with a ranch and a barbecue sauce. And finally, we're going to make a potato salad. It's more of a French potato salad using olive oil, some Dijon, capers, all that good stuff. But it's just a little bit lighter, healthier, and you're going to love it too. I sampled these yesterday, and we were just going to do one of the sauces, the one we like better. We couldn't choose, so you guys get both today. So we better get started. The first thing to do would be to start with our chicken. We need to pop that in the oven. It bakes for 45 minutes. Don't worry, we've already pre-baked ours, but I want to show you this great way to do it. You put your four teaspoons of butter on a little tray lined with foil. I have got kind of a small one today because the recipe calls for 2.5 pounds of chicken, and I used just a little bit over a pound for this recipe. So I'm going to pop this into my oven. I preheated it to 425. Actually, I'm convection, so I did 400, but we're gonna melt this butter in the pan and make some sauces. So here we go. Popping it in, it's gonna get nice and bubbly.
Yes, this is a much better option, obviously, than like frying in oil. So that's why we're using the butter. And yeah, so feel free, you know, I know we're always looking for modifications for plant-based and all that stuff, so they do make plant-based butter, excuse me, so feel free to use that if you're on that side of things.
Moving on to the first sauce. This is a barbecue. I'm using a unsweetened ketchup. It's made by Primal. I believe, Lindsay, you said there's some other options now with some less sugar options for ketchup. Okay. So I'm gonna do my half cup of ketchup, and then to that I'm gonna add some apple cider vinegar, some spices. This is a little bit of garlic powder, and some salt. So those are my kind of dry spices. And then for a little bit of kick, this is kind of fun. I bought a chipotle. It's like a chipotle ancho. So it gives a little spice, but it's more smoky than, say, a traditional something like chili powder that you'd use in a chili. And then to that I add some Worcestershire. And then there's a kind of a fun ingredient we're gonna add. It's a liquid smoke. And this one I got is hickory, and this really just adds some great seasoning to the recipe. You can do up to a half of a tablespoon, and you might want to just decide how much you want to use based on your preference for that smoky flavor. So I'm going to go about that way much. Now, the last thing in the recipe is that we use some type of a brown sugar swerve. We weren't real big fans of that, but we found some just easier maple syrup did the trick for seasoning this well. So I'm just gonna stir up those ingredients. And to that, you just add the maple syrup to taste. Maybe I should have gone larger on my bowl here, but go big or go home, right? Okay, so I'm gonna add a little bit of maple syrup. That's about a teaspoon or so. Now, these flavors really come together if you just let them develop over a short amount of time. So that's gonna be our barbecue. And then we're gonna do another sauce. This one's fun, you can get your aggression out. And you can just find a jar, like a wide mouth jar with a good lid or one that you can hold on easily. And to that, you're gonna add your ingredients. We're gonna add some Greek yogurt. This is a low fat. Lindsay, I used a whole milk Greek yogurt when I was doing this recipe yesterday. Do you favor one over the other?
Yeah, I mean, I think in terms of it doesn't really matter as long as it's not flavored in terms of sugar. I mean, we're always a big advocate for the healthy fats that come from whole milk yogurt, but you can use either one. It doesn't really matter.
Great. Okay, to that, I'm gonna add a little bit of Dijon and then some seasoning. This is I used all dried ingredients. This is dried chives and parsley. Those are going in. And then I have some seasonings here too. This is some garlic powder, some onion powder, a little bit of salt. Yeah, oh, actually I'm gonna add my salt separate. Here we go. There's about a teaspoon there. Now, that's pretty good in there like that. And then I also have some buttermilk. This really makes this recipe creamy and flavorful. You need about 1/4 cup. I'm gonna put part of it in because you can always add more, but you want it to get to your desired consistency. I don't know if you wanna see this whole thing in action here, but you're gonna lift it all up, lid it, make sure you hold the top well, and give it a little shake. Cha-cha-cha. You can add a little dance. And it makes a great ranch dressing. And you get all of your aggression out. Okay, let's see. All right, you guys might wanna see the beauty of this. Oh, I need a little more shake. Hold that thought. I actually think I need a little bit more buttermilk too. Add the rest of that. It's thick. Now remember, you're gonna be dipping your wings in this in the end, so you wanna have it kind of like enough to hold for that. Okay, here's my ranch. Doesn't that look beautiful? To add some great consistency and flavor, we're gonna squeeze the juice of 1/2 of 1 lemon into this yummy concoction. That's gonna really make this ranch dressing great. Stir that in. And voila. My 2 sauces are done. I'm gonna go check on my butter. I think it might be ready for my wings. Oh yeah, it's perfect. It's a little bit browned. I'm gonna set it right there to cool while I dump my chicken, or get my chicken wings ready to go on that pan. So for that, I have a little bowl here, and to that, I'm gonna add some almond flour. This is the base for our recipe. That goes in. And then we're gonna add a little bit of onion powder and garlic powder. Great seasoning. Some paprika, about a tablespoon, kind of a generous amount. And this one's optional. This is some cayenne pepper. If you like a little bit of kick, great. If you prefer a milder wing, maybe omit this or just add part of it. We're gonna go big there too. Now I can add a little bit of pepper, and I already had the salt in there. So to this, I'm just gonna mix it up a tad. I'm gonna use a fork for this job. That way it can break down some of the almond flour. Now my chicken is gonna go take a bath in there. Lindsay, you might want to talk about how I'm this as an option to frying, breading and oven baking while I take the plunge.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. So as you can tell, Mary's just using normal, regular chicken wings. You can get big bags of them at like Sam's Club or Costco. You can get skinless or you can get them with the skin. Honestly, it doesn't really matter because you're not frying them. And then with this breading part, Mary's using almond flour, which if you've been with us for a while with recipe redos and all of the things, we know almond flour is obviously a much better, lower carb alternative to actual breading. But you can also use Parmesan, which is an interesting twist too. So if you want to avoid even using a flour, you can do the same exact recipe, but with Parmesan cheese. And then obviously, you know, we're baking it instead of frying it in oil, so a much better alternative there. And we're just getting a lot of the good spices in for flavor rather than a lot of the additives and artificial stuff that's in, you know, like Buffalo Wild Wings and bagged wings at the store. So yeah, much better. And from what I've heard, they taste a lot better. I haven't tried it yet, but everybody taste tested except for me.
I wish you all were here.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm almost done tossing this. Again, I'm doing just a little over a pound of this chicken. I know the recipe calls for a couple pounds, but just as you can see, it's easy to just do a small batch, or you can feed a crowd with this recipe.
Yeah, and you can also, now Mary's baking this, but obviously we're doing this as a summer recipe, so you can throw these on the grill too. You just have to make sure you're comfortable with like grilling chicken. I know that makes me a little nervous because I want to make sure it's cooked thoroughly, but if you're comfortable with grilling chicken, this is going to be an amazing thing to throw on the grill too.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I didn't think of that. The one thing I do love about doing this in the oven is this foil lined tray I have with that melted butter. Just really bakes it nice and crisp and gets it so flavorful. So, okay, I think they're all on there. I might even, let's see, how, maybe if I slide this over, is that a better overall picture of what I'm doing here? And I'm gonna even sprinkle. No seasoning goes unwasted in my kitchen.
You can't do it. Yeah, you have to use every little drop.
That would be breaking code for sure. Okay, now this is hot well, it's not even that hot, but I'm gonna pop these in. They're gonna go in for 45 minutes, and after about 30 minutes, I'm going to flip them, and we'll be ready to go on to our next recipe. So here we go. Now we're gonna move on to the potato salad because our chicken's baking, our sauces are made, and we're ready to make a potato salad. So, who thought we could make 4 recipes in 5 minutes flat? Here we go. I'm gonna slide in these friends and my blender because we are gonna blend something up today. There we go. So here we go with another round of fun. Okay, so these are all the players in this little potato salad recipe. Earlier I boiled some small potatoes and I cut them in half. So that would be done. I have those just simmering on my stove and they will be ready to go. Super important to make sure your potatoes are hot once you have your dressing ready to pour on them. So let's see. The first part of this is just gonna be putting some of my ingredients. Let me tell you what they are. We've got some 3/4 cup of some Greek yogurt. You saw this earlier in our ranch dressing. And then these are just some rough cut herbs. I have a couple green onions that I rough cut because they're dropping in the blender, and about 1.5 garlic cloves. I also have some white vinegar, some olive oil, some capers. Actually, the capers I'm gonna put in later because I don't want those chopped up. This is the stuff that's really gonna become liquid. I'll move that bottle off to the side too. And then also some Dijon. Now this Dijon gives it great flavor. And then this is an herb. I don't know how many of you use this in your kitchen, but some celery salt. This really adds great flavor. We have the celery salt here combined with a little bit of regular salt. We're gonna put all of this in our blender. So you could also use a food processor for this action. So we will start with the yogurt. I like to go big to small.
Yeah, you'll notice there's no mayo in this recipe. So
No
that's
mayo.
why we're using the Greek yogurt.
Yeah, and the olive oil, right?
Yes, yep.
So this is just, I think this is 3 tablespoons on the olive oil. From there, we're gonna go with the spice. We've got 2 tablespoons of our white vinegar. And then this celery salt and regular salt seasoning. We've got some Dijon, a couple teaspoons. And our rough cut veggies and seasonings. There we go. And from there, we're gonna add our little lid on there. Move that out of the way. And just start pulsing. All right, you guys have a good view of this? You're gonna wanna watch. Here we go. There's a better view. I'm gonna turn it on, and then I have a pulse setting. I like to start out that way. It gets everything kind of blended roughly. And from there, I can just dial in the major blending part. Now, partway through, you're gonna wanna go back in and scrape down the sides and then repulse. I'm gonna do that right now. I'm gonna turn it off first.
Yeah, don't forget to turn it off, Mary.
Safety first. All right, I'm gonna scrape this down a little bit. Oh, it smells so good. Wish you were here. I'm telling you, I did a trial run last night of this, and it was a favorite in my house. So we'll pulse a little bit more. Blend a little bit more. And I think it's all ready almost. Yeah, doesn't take long. So let me show you what we got. It's very creamy, good flavor. And I'm just gonna leave that in there because I'm gonna add it, I'm gonna pour this on my potatoes with my other ingredients. We've got the dressing we just made and just a few other things. Some chopped up egg. I hard boiled my 3 eggs and chopped them up. A couple stalks of celery. And then also some capers. We're gonna put all of that in to our bowl. Let's see, I got that good. Into that, I might need some oven mitts for my warm potatoes, hot potato.
Yum, it looks super good. And instead of, if you don't want to use regular potatoes, you can also use sweet potatoes or cauliflower even. So steaming up some cauliflower for like a lower carb option as well. So there's some different things you can use for it, for the potato salad.
That cauliflower is a major player these days.
Yeah, it is. Or even like jicama, something like that. Some of those like starchier veggies in place of potatoes you can always use.
Wow, great advice. Thanks, Lens. Okay, so here we go. I got my hot potatoes, and this is where the fun starts. Well, it's been fun all along, but we add some chopped egg, some celery, and last but not least, the capers. But wait, there's more. We're gonna put all this yummy goodness. They say, the recipe says to just use about 3/4 of the dressing that we made. This would be a great salad dressing, I decided last night too. And because it's gonna absorb into the potato, and you might, that's the reason why our potatoes are hot, so that this will absorb. It's gonna look like a little runny at first, but you will soon find that, I'm gonna rinse off a spoon so we can get this going. You'll soon find that it just kind of works its way in.
Oh my goodness, that looks so good.
Yeah. That look yummy.
It's amazing how you can create something without, I mean, when you look at potato salad, really, most of it's pretty good except for the mayo, right? And like some of the other parts of it, like the heavier condiments that have, I don't know if you've ever noticed, but a lot of mayos have high fructose corn syrup in it, which is absolutely gross. So making like just the same thing out of yogurt is such an amazing alternative, so much better for you.
Yeah, and to be honest, I did not feel like I was missing a beat. All right, I'm gonna, when using these other ingredients, it was just as delicious. So I'm gonna go ahead and pour this into more of a servable bowl. Don't like yummy. Yeah, it really turned out well. We used the tri-colored potatoes. I don't know if that makes a difference nutrition-wise, but it sure makes it look pretty.
Yeah, it gives it some more
color. And that's what it's all about.
We love colorful foods.
Yeah. Okay, so I can, obviously we have more time on the chicken in the oven, but I have one already made, so I can kind of just show you the whole spread. If you want to peek at the oven, I can show you what it looks like when I go to flip it. That might be kind of fun to do, and then I'll show you the whole thing. How about that? Let's see. So this is what it looks like partway through, and then you're just going to take it halfway through your cooking and flip all these little guys over. See how it's just getting such a great flavor and coating. Yeah, like I said, we're only partway through, and then from there you just pop it back in the oven for the rest of the time. And then say abracadabra. And this is what it's gonna look like.
Wow, it's like magic. Out. Oh man, those look super good.
These are all cooked, seasoned, and ready to go, and they're delicious. So I'm gonna pull in my sauces. I might give this one a little stir.
If you're somebody who's a vegetarian also, you can do this with tofu also. So just an interesting thing, if you're not eating meat protein instead of chicken wings, you can do tofu, and you can do cauliflower. Obviously, I know a lot of wing places do cauliflower wings and nutritional yeast. So those are some options for you. Same recipe, just replace the chicken.
Great ideas. Even sweet potato, right?
Yeah, that too.
Okay, so here we've got our tangy barbecue. It's really smoky. We've got our ranch. I don't know which one we want to use to dip.
Let's try the barbecue.
You think?
Yeah,
okay.
Tell us what you think.
I will. Well, I'm cheating because I got to have the goodness a little bit yesterday too, but here we go.
Those look just like regular wings, but they're not fried, not
I know, you
breaded.
would never know. Oven baked.
Yeah. Give us all the vibes, Mary.
So much flavor. The almond flour, I love. It really coats it well. And there's just so much flavor in this barbecue. I would never know I was giving up like a sweet, overly done barbecue sauce, but I do need a napkin.
That's awesome. I'm so glad that they're good. And honestly, to really, kind of summarize the comparison, the differences here, you're not having the high amount of carbs from the breading, you're not having the frying from the oil, you're using a lot of spices to bring that flavor in, sugar-free sauces, without all the preservatives as well, and then obviously the potato salad without the mayo and some substitutions you can do there. So this is definitely a much healthier version of some barbecue food that you can bring into your Labor Day weekend, which is probably the next grilling holiday. Not that we have to have a holiday to grill, right?
I know. I need you all to come over now and have a little barbecue with me.
Oh, this is awesome. Oh, so good. Yeah. So two things I wanted to mention too is Michael had asked about if there are truly are plant-based butters, and yes, Country Crock makes a plant-based butter. So look for that in your store. I know there's some other brands, but that's the one that has jumped out to me at the store. And then is olive oil-based mayo a good option? Yes and no. So olive oil is the olive oil or avocado oil based mayos are gonna be better for you, but they're still gonna have a lot of the additives that normal mayo has, just without the high fructose corn syrup. So they're a good middleman, but if store-bought is the only option, but stay away from Miracle Whip. Okay, Miracle Whip is what has the super high amounts of high fructose corn syrup. Like traditional mayonnaise is a little bit better, but if you can home make your stuff like Mary did, that's obviously the best option. So. Well, thank you for putting on an amazing show, Mary, and showing us all of these amazing foods to make. I popped in the recipes, but we'll also pop them into the communities and Facebook pages so you guys can copy and paste them, but they're also on the recipe website so you can search for them as well. But yeah, thank you guys for joining us for another recipe redo. And if you guys have ideas for the next recipe redo of things for us to make, let us know.
Yay!
Awesome. Thanks so much, Mary.
And have a great weekend, everybody.
Yes, everybody have a great weekend as well. Enjoy the rest of your day and stay cool if it's hot where you are.
Thank you.